You think you know Little Red Riding Hood, sweet girl, red cape, talking wolf, heroic woodsman who saves the day. That's the lie they've been selling you since kindergarten. But here's something that should make your skin crawl. Disney never made this into a movie, not a feature film, not a princess story, nothing. And Disney turned every nightmare into merchandise. So what was it about Little Red Riding Hood that even they couldn't sanitize? The answer is in the original story, a tale of cannibalism, predatory violence, and a wolf that was never really a wolf at all. This isn't a fairy tale, it's a warning. And once you hear it, you'll never look at those children's books the same way again. Before we dive into the story, you need to understand something. In medieval Europe, wolves weren't cute forest animals. They were walking death sentences. Paris, 1439. Court records describe wolf packs entering the city through broken walls, dragging children from their beds while parents screamed helplessly. The year 1450, 40 people killed in the Paris outskirts alone. Between 1580 and 1830, over 3,000 documented deaths by wolf attack in France. Most victims? Children under 12. But the beast of Gévaudan is where it gets truly horrifying. For 3 years, from 1764 to 1767, something terrorized southern France. Witnesses described a massive wolf with reddish fur that would tear out human throats with surgical precision. 60 to 100 victims, women and children, always women and children. Here's the thing that should terrify you. Sometimes the wolf wasn't a wolf. Medieval records overflow with cases of traveling men, soldiers, vagabonds attacking young girls in the forests. Communities blamed wolves. It was easier, safer, because admitting that your neighbor, that friendly merchant, that soldier asking for shelter, might be the real predator, that meant nowhere was safe. The wolf in Little Red Riding Hood, he's the perfect lie. Sometimes a beast, sometimes a man, always a monster. Forget everything you think you know. Let me tell you what really happened in the early oral versions from medieval France. No Red Hood, no woodsman, no happy ending. A girl is sent to her grandmother's house through the woods. Her mother warns her, stay on the path. In some interpretations, this warning isn't really about wolves at all. It's about men. The girl meets a wolf who asks which path she'll take, the path of pins or the path of needles. Pins represented childhood. Needles represented sexual maturity. The girl chooses. The wolf takes the other path. He arrives first. Now here's where your childhood ends. The wolf doesn't just kill the grandmother. He butchers her like livestock. In several oral variants, what happens next crosses into something even darker. He drains her blood into a wine bottle, slices her flesh onto a platter, puts on her nightgown, crawls into her bed. The girl arrives, knocks on the door. Come in, child. Grandmother, I'm hungry. There's meat in the kitchen. Help yourself. The girl eats what's on the platter, drinks what's in the glass. Some versions include a cat that screams, "You're eating your own grandmother." But the girl doesn't understand, or can't hear, or won't listen. Then the wolf calls from the bedroom. You must be tired, child. Come to bed. And here's the part that makes scholars call this the striptease scene. The girl begins removing her clothes, one piece at a time. What should I do with my apron, grandmother? Throw it in the fire. You won't need it any more. What about my dress? The fire, child. Her bodice, her stockings. Each piece of clothing burns while she stands there, more vulnerable with every second. This isn't random. This is a predator systematically removing his victim's defenses, making her participate in her own destruction. She gets into bed with the wolf. Grandmother, what big arms you have. The better to hold you tight, my dear. What hairy chest you have. The better to keep you warm. What big teeth you... The better to eat you with. In the original version, there's no rescue, no woodsman bursting through the door. The wolf devours her. The story ends. A child trusts the wrong voice and dies in the dark. Some oral versions let her escape by saying she needs to go outside. The wolf ties a rope to her ankle. She ties it to a tree and runs. But even then, her grandmother is dead. She's been violated. She's been forced to participate in something unspeakable. That's the happy ending. In 1697, Charles Perrault tried to clean it up. He added the red hood, often interpreted as symbolizing menstruation, sexual maturity, becoming visible to predators in a different way. He added a moral that basically said, "Girls, if you talk to strangers and get hurt, it's your own fault." The girl still died in his version. He just made it sound prettier. Then the brothers Grimm came along in 1812. They couldn't stomach the ending, so they invented the woodsman. He cuts open the wolf's belly, and out pops Red Riding Hood and her grandmother, somehow perfectly fine after being digested. Because apparently the real horror wasn't the predation. It was that nobody punished the predator. But here's what the Grimms understood, even if they tried to bury it. The wolf was never the only monster. The grandmother living alone in the woods? That's what happened to women who outlived their usefulness to society, isolated, forgotten, vulnerable. The girl being sent alone through dangerous territory? That's every daughter society sends into the world without protection, just prayers and a basket of food. And that red hood? Every time the girl wore it, she announced to the world, "I'm becoming a woman. I'm prey now." Warner Brothers eventually turned it into slapstick comedy. The wolf became a bumbling idiot. The girl became a punchline. The horror vanished. The sexual threat evaporated into cartoon violence where nobody bleeds. But Disney never touched it. They sanitized Snow White's abuse. They erased Sleeping Beauty's assault. They made The Little Mermaid walk on knives and called it romance. But Little Red Riding Hood? The metaphor was too explicit. The wolf asking the girl to undress wasn't subtext. It was text. You can't make merchandise out of exploitation. This was never a story about wolves. It was a survival manual written in code because mothers couldn't speak plainly about violence and predatory behavior without destroying their daughter's innocence before predators got the chance. When the girl consumes what's on that platter, she's not just participating in something horrific. She's consuming the last generation's protection. The wisdom that could have saved her is literally inside her, undigested, useless. When she removes her clothing piece by piece and burns it, she's learning the most dangerous lesson, that compliance can feel like choice, that you can participate in your own destruction and call it obedience. When the wolf speaks with grandmother's voice, he's teaching her that danger doesn't announce itself, that monsters wear familiar faces, that the person offering shelter might be sharpening his teeth behind that smile. And when no woodsman arrives to save her, that's the realest part of all, because most girls don't get rescued. Most girls have to save themselves, and some girls don't make it out of the woods. The sanitized versions have been lying to you for centuries. They taught you that wolves look like wolves, that danger has yellow eyes and sharp teeth, that someone will always burst through the door just in time. The original tale knew better. It knew that sometimes you'll consume your grandmother's protection without knowing. Sometimes you'll strip away your own defenses and call it politeness. Sometimes the monster will already be in bed, wearing grandmother's face, and you'll get in willingly because that's what good girls do. Little Red Riding Hood is still walking through those woods. She's every girl told to smile at men who make her uncomfortable. Every daughter sent into the world with a basket of good intentions and no real protection. Every woman who learned too late that the wolf doesn't always look like a wolf. The path of pins or the path of needles. childhood or sexual maturity. Either way, you're walking toward grandmother's house. Either way, the wolf might already be there. Either way, your clothes might end up burning in the fireplace while you stand there wondering how you got so naked, so fast, so far from home. That's the story they buried under cartoons and happy endings. A warning about predators who speak with familiar voices, about the moment when you realize the door you walked through has locked behind you, about how sometimes the scariest part isn't the wolf's teeth. It's recognizing that you've already climbed into bed with him. The wolf is still waiting on that path. Grandmother's house is still empty, and the fire is still burning, waiting for the next girl's clothes. Because the most dangerous fairy tale we tell ourselves is that someone else will save us, that monsters announce themselves, that little girls in red hoods get happy endings just for being good. The wolf knows better. He's always known better.